And we're recording. All right, welcome to the Trivium Talk podcast, where we talk about things inside and outside of the gym. We're going to hit our quick hits today. First things first, we've got the Open coming up. So right now we're about 2 weeks out. By the time this episode airs, it'll be almost exactly 1 week from the Open starting. One of our first episodes, we talked about why you should do the Open. If you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it. But sign up for the Open. It's really, really easy. It's $20. You sign up. We're going to do Saturday mornings from 8 a.m. to 11, having heats going every 15 to 20 minutes, depending on what that workout is. It is a blast. It's one of the most fun things we do here at the gym all year long. If you've never done it, do it. If you've already done it, you already know. So get signed up. One thing I want to say, I feel that strongly that you should do the Open and you should show up on Saturday mornings. That if the $20 is what's stopping you from doing it and registering and getting that data point and getting on that leaderboard, we will cover the cost of the $20. Just get signed up. Cool? All right. So today's topic, we're going to talk about, Matt and I were throwing some ideas back and forth on our list of podcast topics. And one of the things that came up was, what's the ideal member, right? And I'm in sales, right? And so I'm always looking at what we call ICP, or ideal customer profile. And that's who I kind of go after and target. And so initially I started thinking about it that way of like, oh, who do I want to go get to join the gym, or who's the right person? And that's kind of a broad swath because of the fitness and things that we do. But really we narrowed it down to not what's the like ideal person or what we think the best type of member is, but what is the type of member that gets the most success or the most value out of joining Trivium? What are the things that we see as the criteria to get the most out of that? And meaning like they do these things, or they really actively engage in these things, they see the most value and the most, I guess, trajectory as far as meeting goals and getting those things out of it, right? Is that?
Yeah. I think it kind of stemmed with like, we were doing hypotheticals on like, what's the ideal athlete? It's like, oh, someone who does this and that and super strong, but can run and this. And it's like kind of spun it on its head from the business side of it. Like, well, what's an ideal member? Because that's different than being our best athletes aren't necessarily our best members, and your best members aren't necessarily your best athletes. And it doesn't mean one's bad and one's good. It's just a different category. And so then we got to do kind of the thought exercise of, well, what does make an ideal member? And kind of thinking through it, I think if we try to go with some alliterations, I really think if we can have a member that is coachable and consistent and then contributes back to the community, you have an opportunity that member is getting the most value that we can offer, right? And so from there, we can start to break it down and just kind of have some fun with it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that's a great way to look at it. And, again, it's like we can look at it from different angles, from the like, hey, who's going to stay the longest? Or, who do we think is going to, get the fittest, or things like that. But for us, it's really about the value you're getting out of doing this, right? Sure. So, when I started CrossFit, I was that guy. I was the member. I walked in the door one day and I had a problem. I knew I needed to solve that problem, but I didn't know how to do it, right? And so I walked by this CrossFit gym that was being built, and the day they opened their doors, I walked in and signed up, right? And learned a lot along the way. And I think as I went through that process, I was able to see like, oh, if I do this, I'm going to see this. If I don't do this, I'm not going to see that. And I think these align very, very well with those, right? And I could watch other people make those mistakes and sort of learn from that, just on the membership side. So then when I came into owning it, it was like, hey, these are the things I want to see for everybody that walks through the door, right? Because I experienced that for me, and I'm my own target audience.
Absolutely, yeah, makes sense. I think what's cool about this too is maybe we'll get into it a little bit deeper. So let's go ahead and break it down. So we've got coachable and we've got consistent and then contributing. If I had to rank them, I'd have a tough time figuring out what's the most important here. I would like to say that just being consistent is probably going to be the most important thing. That way we know we at least have opportunities to work with you on that, right? And then you have an opportunity to start to build habits. That way you can start to see progress in itself, even if we're not very coachable, even if you just come in and get out and you're not necessarily contributing. And I think that's a kind of a broad topic there. But I'm curious what you think when you see these three. Which ones are kind of, how would you rank it if we had to? It could just be a 1A, 1B, 1C.
Right. If I had to, I would say consistent would be number one. You've heard me say it so many times, just walk through the door. But the hardest thing to do is walk through the door, right? Because there's a lot of barriers to get to that point. There's fear and anxiety. There's your time and your commute. There's all the competing priorities that you have in your life. And so building that discipline, building that desire, building that courage to go get up and walk through the door and then do it the next day and do it the next day and do it the next day,
Right.
I think is the most important thing. I think I would put coachable a short piece after that.
Okay.
Because I do think if you're not that coachable or you're not sure even what coachable means,
Right.
that by showing up, you're going to see great examples of that around you. And then you're going to go, oh, I want that.
Yeah.
Right. I want what just that interaction that just happened there and the way they received it and the way they gave it. That's what I want. And you're going to learn that even if you don't understand what that means.
Yep.
And then contributing to the community. Right. I think that there's a level of you give to get. And there's a lot of people in our community that have built this great culture that you can receive from if you decide to contribute to it.
For sure. And I think the contributing part, I do look at like coachable and contributing almost like a branch from the consistency.
Yeah,
It's almost two different categories here. The contributing side of it, you know, it can be anything. It can be just like you kind of have your crew that you just say hey to, right? You can kind of pour into them. And if it's kind of a endless feedback circle, right? If I'm pouring into someone else and someone else is pouring into someone else and someone else is pouring into someone else, eventually someone's gonna be pouring into me. And then that's gonna allow me to pour back into someone else. And I think this is more to do with just a friendship side of it. It doesn't mean like you have to come in and be like, oh, dude, I got you some new knee sleeves, or there's no monetary value when we think
it's not
about
volunteer work. It's not, you know.
Yeah, it's not even like a knowledge share of just like, oh, well, I learned how to do a squat clean this way. And like we love, I would say tribal knowledge is great where we can pass down to the members and the members can pass out to each other. But really it's just having that connection with people that care that you're there. And that is another part where you're going to make someone else's day better. And I think that's very important, not just in a gym setting, but just in a life setting as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's super important. And that's kind of like a macro, go out and help a bunch of people. And the coachable is more micro, where what are we doing to help you in that sense? And if you're not able to be coachable, then progress is going to stop eventually. You could be someone who's just, I get it, I see it, I'm going to get going. But eventually you're going to come to a spot where you need help from someone else. And that's where I hope like people are able to take the feedback from someone and then apply it to the next workout or whatever it is like that.
So we talk about the consistent, right? I think if we decided to say, hey, look, that's kind of the top, but everything is a close right under. We're not sitting here and saying there's these big gaps, but walking through that door, right? There's so many competing priorities. There's so many things. Like the people that are successful with being consistent on 3 times a week, if that's their goal, or 2 times a week, or 5 times a week, where do you see, how does that work for them in your experience? Is it simply just saying, hey, look, I've got to prioritize my life and this has to be my third thing, right? Or my third thing. Or we talked about like, what's your third place, your fourth place, right? What are some of the characteristics of the consistent people that you see? Are they high performing? Are they just disciplined? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I think it's just the priority placement, right? And when we can do this with all facets of life, right? If I'm going to prioritize my nutrition, I'm going to make choices that allow that to be successful. And then with the consistent side of it, of coming to the gym, it is just setting up your day where it's like, hey, going to work is important, spending time with family is important, and then this is the next thing. It doesn't mean you disregard everything that's below that. It just means I'm going to make space for this here, knowing that everything else will be okay and will all fall into place if I keep doing that. Some of the things I'm looking for is like, where can, at least for me, where do hurdles start to come up in my day? Later the day, more things come up, more fires that have to get put out. So for me, if I'm not done training by 7 a.m., then it's just not going to happen because there's something that comes up. So it's like, no one's bothering me at 5 a.m. So I know I can consistently come here at 5 a.m. Now the hurdles for that is, are you going to bed on the day before to allow yourself to do that? And that's where the priority side kicks in. You know you have time at 5, but are you prioritizing the sleep by getting to bed early enough to wake up and have some kind of consistency there? You can flip it on its head in the afternoon as well. So I know you're more of an afternoon guy, right?
Right.
You got a lot going on in the morning, but you know, hey, at 4 o'clock or at 5 o'clock, we are going to take the next hour to do the training. And then I'm going to go continue the rest of my day and go from there. Because you're going to be a better dad or you're going to be a better husband knowing that you got that exercise in. You didn't just go straight from work to family where you don't have time to like make the switch.
Yeah. And that's a great point, right? It's like, where in your day do things fall apart? outside of your control,
Mhm.
because there's the things you can control. When you prioritize something, you try to fit it within everything you control, right? There's always going to be things you can't control. And
Right.
typically there's a pattern to those things.
Mhm.
And so looking at it and setting up your day for the like, hey, there's these uncontrollable factors that typically come up around this time. And if I don't do it by this point, the likelihood that now I can't,
Mhm.
not because I'm not prioritizing it, but just because the other things kind of take over, I
Sure.
just can't.
Right.
And building that in there that day.
Yeah.
One point I do want to make, because you brought up being a good dad, being a good husband and family, right? For me, that's such an important thing. For so many of our members, that's such an important thing, that have families, that have young kids. And I struggle with the guilt of time away, right? And so when I go, I'm going to go take an hour, it's going to take me 15 minutes to get there, 15 minutes to get back. I'm an hour and a half, maybe hour 45, somewhere's in there, that potentially could be time I could have spent with my kids, my wife, or doing something else. I struggle with that. Like, is it selfish for me to do that?
Sure.
And I had a conversation with somebody a long time ago about that, where I was like, hey, I'm finding that I'm not getting the same amount of workouts in as my kids get older, and they need that time with me and things like that. I feel like I'm being selfish by taking that time away. We talked through the whole prioritization, when to do it to maximize time with them and whatever. But what he said to me, and it stuck with me, he said, Nate, it's not selfish for you to take that time. It's selfish for you to not take that time.
Okay.
Because if you don't take that time now, you are robbing them of years later in life that they could have had with you, but you chose to spend an hour with them here instead of getting your health right, and took
Sure.
10 years off your
Yeah.
life
No,
on
I
that.
hear that.
And obviously there's not an exact number there,
Yeah.
but the idea being that, hey, I'm investing in me to maximize my time with you
Mhm.
for the long term.
Yep.
And it's a selfish thing for me to ignore the long term to get a short term satisfaction. And I really took that to heart. I think that helps me on certain days where it's like, hey, I'm going to be late to this, but hey, it's going to allow me to do all of this.
Sure.
Right?
I even look at it even more, just like not even more short term, in the sense like if I don't finish my work, and we do a big thing at trying to not bring work home with us. And so Nicole would rather me like, hey, take the extra time to get the work done. So when you're home, you're home. You can apply that to exercise too, and working out too. It's like, if you skip the workout and you do that consistently, and there's a frustration there, and now your mind's just racing on all the things you didn't do the day. Your quality time with your kids and your family is now just so much smaller, where you could be 100% dad when you get home at 5:30, compared to being 60% dad because you got so much thing going on and you got home at 4:15.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, which one would they rather have?
Right.
Like, they want dad in this, or they want your husband in this. They don't want husband plus baggage of work and stress and all that, right? So it's like, you've got to take your time for yourself to make sure that you can give the best version of yourself into it. And so that's where I think, to give yourself the grace of, you're not just working out to like avoid things.
Yeah,
You're working out to
right?
be the best version of yourself, because that's what life demands from you,
Yeah.
is the best version of yourself. So
yeah, and you hit on it, right? It's that the mental aspect too, of being able to go in and do something hard, do something. There's it affects me mentally when I have to not do those things. And you I think you explain that very, very well, right? The things, they start to pack up, they pack up. I carry those things, then I carry it into the situation that I think I'm giving myself to, and I'm really not. I'm holding a piece of that back, and I'm present, but I'm really kind of holding back. So I just think that's a cool, an important topic for people to consider when they're mapping their consistency out and what that looks like.
And like you talked about too, I want to go longer on this, man, because we've got a lot of like married couples here that have kids, and so they're finding ways to make this work. And a lot of them always, we joke about it, it's like it's the prisoner exchange at 6 a.m. You've got mom or dad comes in at 5 a.m. and then about 5:50 the other person comes in with the kid. They trade them off, and then now mom is working at 6 a.m. and dad's watching the kids. It's tough to do that, because now it's a 2.5 hour commitment to work with these kids, or doing the same thing in the afternoons. And it's just like, yeah, but they're prioritizing their health because they know we have to make sure that we're exercising, or we have to make sure that we're spending this time to make ourselves better so we can go out and be, so it's like, it's all possible. Sometimes we have to be creative with it. And that's where it's also like contributing side. If you are talking to other people that are in the same situation as you start to build ideas of how to make it work, because you are not the first person to have the situation that you're in that you're just the anomaly, like, well, I just can't work out. It's
Yeah.
like someone has been in your same situation in the best way possible. You are not special.
And a couple things you're doing there. One, you're setting an example for your kids,
Mhm.
right? That you're prioritizing health, wellness. It's not, again, it's not just working out. You're not setting an example that you can squat 315.
Mhm.
You're setting an example that you prioritize health, right? And it may be hard to see it in the moment when your kid's screaming about the banana that they dropped on the floor,
Mhm.
but they are.
Mhm.
And I can tell you because I have two daughters that are 15 and 12 now, and they grew up watching me do this, and they grew up in the gym, you know, seeing me prioritize it, bringing them to the gym, them waiting while I work out, whatever that is, and then going off and doing those things. And guess what? They're 15 and 12 now, and what are they doing? They're coming into the gym. They're joining in class. A couple times I got a text from my daughter last night. Hey, can we work out tomorrow?
Yeah.
She wants to come to class. She's seen it. She understands it. So you're setting that example. The other thing that you're doing, and you brought it up, you're contributing to the community because you're setting the example and you're giving that other person who's like, I don't know how to make this work. Oh my gosh, this person makes it work. They have 3 kids and look what they're doing and that works. I'm going to do that. So without even realizing it, you're providing something back to the community by setting that example and showing that. So I think that's super important.
Yeah. So consistency is for everyone. I think, you know, and it may look different for everyone because I may be coming 2 times a week, I may come 3 times a week, I may come 5 times a week. But finding that pattern and being habitual in how you're coming in and taking time. I say taking time for yourself, but you're taking time to be the best version of yourself, right? So I don't think that's selfish at all. So yeah, I really like that we took a deeper dive into consistency isn't just showing up to the gym. That's why we do put it at the top because it does kind of flow into everything else with it. I think the coachable side is interesting because you can get if you're not coachable, you're not giving us as gym owners and coaches an opportunity to like give you all the value, right? Because the difference between obviously you're all listening to this, the difference between a CrossFit gym and then just going to a Globo gym is that you have someone who is experienced in this, who is invested in your goals to help you achieve those things. If you just go to Planet Fitness or whatever, it's like you got all the machines and all the things that you want, but you have no guidance and you have no idea what you're doing except for what you Googled or ChatGPT the night before.
Yeah. And go
like,
up to the front counter and ask them how much that guidance costs.
Yeah, and it's going to be more than what you're doing at the CrossFit gym, right? And so you have to be vulnerable enough to let the coaches in on what you're trying to do, and also know that when coaches are giving you some kind of feedback, it's for your benefit. We're all on the same team here. I'm not telling you to squat deeper because I just like to watch you suffer. I'm telling you because I know the benefits of not just getting better in the sport of CrossFit, but your ability to get off the toilet when you're 80 years old is completely related to your ability to air squat right now.
Yeah.
And so if you can do that now, I'm not worried about you when you're long past Trivium, but you're 80 and you're still living independently. Like that's where my head's at with that.
So being coachable, right? I think we could spend a ton of time just talking about that. If you had to pick some of the top things that make someone not coachable or that you see as mistakes of not being coachable, what would be your top one that you see the most often? I've got one in my head. I'm curious if it's the same.
That's kind of hard for me because I look at it from a coaching aspect. If someone's not coachable, you're just not reaching to them correctly. And so to me, it's just
maybe it's the most pushback you get.
I don't know where you're going with this. So I'll
just go with it.
Yeah.
Getting people to lift lighter, to take weight off the bar to fix the problem for an entire class.
Yeah.
That is very difficult. And I don't mean that to like down on anybody. It's hard for me to do.
Sure.
If I'm lifting and I'm like, I know my max is this and and the percentage is 225, but every time I pull that weight off the ground, I'm doing it wrong. And you walk up to me and say, hey, drop that to 185 and let's hit those perfectly for the rest of this set.
Yeah.
The immediate trigger in my head is I didn't get a good workout there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And
I think that's a thing.
Coach thinks I'm weak or coach thinks I'm weak.
Or that guy's doing that and I know I'm stronger than him.
Sure.
It's not that piece.
How come he gets to do it and I don't?
Why is that is it an ego thing? Is it just what tells us that that's not the right thing to do? Yeah. Because I think for me, that's probably the most actual pushback that I get. If I'm telling someone form or this, they're, oh yeah. If I say, hey, take weight off that bar, it's an immediate I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah, I think I go back to you have to give a reason for that you as a coach have to give a reason for the athlete to believe in you.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to build some equity there by multiple interactions of showing that you're in good faith with them. And so with you, let's just say I'm working with you and I'm like, Nate, man, I didn't love that back squat, man. Like, I don't know if that was good. I want to see if you can try to get more speed out of the bottom or something like that. You're like,
Sure.
okay, I'm giving a cue. It's like, if it's not there, remember our goal today is speed out of the bottom of the squat. Okay. And it's like, yeah, I didn't really have that. It's like, yeah, it's like we can kind of agree that speed wasn't there. Hey, take some off, try it again. Let's see it there. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm not saying you permanently have to take weight off.
Yeah.
Even though in my head, I'm like, they're not going to go back up in weight because I'm going to really praise them when they get speed out of the bottom. I'm like, that's what we're looking for. Awesome job, dude. Because then they're like reinforcing, oh, the goal isn't the weight. The goal is the performance and whatever that looks like. And so that's kind of where I look at it when people have that. It's just like they're not understanding what the goal is right now.
Yeah.
If they don't understand what the goal is right now, then I didn't do a good job of communicating what the goal is right now. That's also why we don't like to put too many percentages all over the place in our programming, because I have to hit 90%. It says I need to hit 90%. If I don't hit 90%, I failed today. It says RPE 9. It could be 90%, but that could also be 95% if you're feeling really, really good. It could be 85% if you're not feeling good. It could be 50% because you have no idea how you're feeling today. And you're just going to be like, yeah, that felt like a 9 out of 10. I don't want to go up anymore. That gives you the freedom with it. When I see that, I think that you're right. That's very common, that people are just going to go way too heavy and they're like, I have to do it because I have to prove something. It's like, let me give you a different thing to prove. I want you to prove that. And that's kind of how
part of being coachable is understanding those things, right?
Right.
And our ability to communicate that to you. So if I was to simplify it, it's like, hey, when I tell you to take the weight off, I've got to give you the why, and I've got to give you the end goal, right? Or what does that lead to? Here's the why, here's where that leads to, and this is what we're trying to accomplish today. I'm not impressed if you squat 315 if it looks like crap.
Right.
I'm impressed if you squat 285 and it looks incredible.
Exactly.
And you can repeat that, because I know once you can repeat that, the strength is there to squat the other piece.
And you have to reinforce that. And I think one of the things when I was looking through this topic, the contributing and the coachable, like, it's on us to give a reason to do that.
Yeah.
If I'm not consistently learning more about how to move well, I'm not working on my craft as a coach, then I can't expect this person to be excited when I'm coaching them, right? If I'm not given a reason and having a great environment where you want to be contributing to the community, then why should I be? It shouldn't be give to us like this. I have to continue to do my job really well too, to make you want to be coached by me. And that's different. Some people are coming in, I trust you, we're in, let's go. Some people, for whatever reason, I had the best coach back in college. He knew everything. It's like, okay, I'm going to have to work really hard to show you that I know my stuff too. And I have to really show you that I care about your goals. And then that kind of breaks down that guard, give them little wins and go from there. So it's not just, this is like, we talk about what's the ideal member. We have to be the ideal gym as well to get that from someone, right?
Exactly. Right. There's two sides to that piece. Somebody could be incredibly coachable, but if they're not being coached and they're not being coached in that way, they're not going to receive it. That's going to cause them to be inconsistent, and they certainly aren't going to give back to the community on those.
Right.
So to your point, it's like everything kind of like spider webs together. All of those things are tied. So ranking them is really difficult. If you had to, you put them in that order, but truthfully, they kind of sit in that triangular spot where it's like every single one of them has touch points for each one and reasons for those. So yeah, I think that from a coachability standpoint, not being defensive, that's great, right? That doesn't mean blindly follow and don't ask questions, right? I love when I give somebody a cue or I say, hey, here's what I'm trying to do. And they follow up back to me with like, what do you mean by that? Why is that? Do you mean this or do you mean that? Right? Those questions, because that leads me down the path of how their brain works, how they're going to receive that, and may change the cue that I'm giving them and how to do it to achieve that same result.
Yeah. I love when someone asks why, even if someone is asking why in a condescending way, right? It's like, why are we doing this? And it's like, okay, like,
so glad you asked.
Yeah, it's like, hey, let me tell you, and let me show you exactly why, so that you may, just because you don't like burpees, you ask that, right? And it's like, hey, your ability to do this from a pacing standpoint, and your ability to achieve this, and this, and this. This is the focus, because we also have this coming up next week, and we did that last week. You remember when we did that? Hey, so this is just building off that. And like, oh, it's like, okay, cool. I gave you a reason to listen to me now, because I'm not just here. Here's a workout on the board. Why are we doing this? I don't know, because it's a workout on the board.
And it's also a cue for me to be like, well, maybe I didn't explain it quite right. Maybe I missed something over here when someone's like, well, why? They should know that if I explain that right. Let me go back and do this piece right now. Yeah. So I think that's a great point. contributing to the community. We touched on it briefly and what those things can mean, right? You hear contributing and you're immediately like serving, giving, all these things. But I think that we hit on it. It's more than just that, right? It can be the simplest thing of just setting an example. It can be what the lowest barrier to entry to me as to contribute to the community is introducing yourself to somebody.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that is the lowest possible barrier. And if you do that, especially a new person, hey, I'm Nate. It's really great to meet you. Is your first day? Or just ask a question and introduce yourself. That is, you don't realize the impact that actually has.
Absolutely.
Because when you walk in the door and you're dealing with the things we talked about in consistency, the fear, the anxiety, the priorities, all that stuff, and somebody just walks up and it's like, what's up, man?
Yeah.
And
right.
you meet somebody. It's like, that's so awesome.
Yeah. I look at like going into a gym and just how many lights do we have? And if you are a light in this gym, that is just, doesn't mean you're loud. It doesn't mean that like, you're like, look at me, you're just shining light. So that's bringing a sense of comfort in there. If we have 10 light bulbs doing that and only 3, I look at the other side, it's like, or are you more of like a shadow where you're kind of taking in the light? It's like, yeah, but I need you to give back a little bit. And just to give people a chance to feel comfortable in a space. And it's like, some people walk in, you're like, I'll go, like, it's Stu, and like Stu's like, he's the golden retriever of the afternoon class. Like he will go up and talk to anyone, anytime, all the time. He loves new people when they come in because he's like, I know what it's like to be new. I'm going to come in. I'm going to not just say, hey, what's up? He's like, what's your name? What do you do? Why are you here? Not in a bad way. He's asking because he's like, oh, that's super awesome. I came here when I was doing this, this, and this. And like, that is a light. I think that is a huge light. You don't have to be a Stu in this scenario. Yeah. If someone's near you and you've never met them before.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Matt. Oh, cool. It's like,
normally come to this. Sometimes it's somebody from the 6 a.m. that's actually super consistent that you just never met. And it's like, oh yeah, I see you on the leaderboard all the time. Or
man, there's the OGs know her. Her name's Becca Voigt. And so she owns a gym training yard. And she's huge on, you will introduce yourself to people, because he's like, one day this person's going to be spotting you on a bench press and they may save your life. And you don't even know this person's name, but you expect them to save your life if that barbell does not go up. And it's like, yeah, that just makes sense. Like you should at least know the person that's spotting you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. And then there's a bond there. It doesn't mean you guys are best friends and going to go have beers after, but it's just like, oh, it's Bill. He's cool. We live together. That's sick.
Yeah. And we could go down there's a million other reasons to introduce yourself. Everything from just making friends to networking connections, when you need help, to we've got people that have met and gotten married here. I've met my wife at this gym. There's folks that are having kids that have babysitters. I mean, there's just all of these great things that come out from contributing to a community and embracing and being part of it, right? There's just so much.
We don't even have to get too locked in on a verbal way to contribute.
Sure.
Because I think there's acts of kindness as well. If you are not an extrovert, right? And I'm an introvert, but it's like in between transitions, if you are just like, okay, I got my weight up, I'm just going to help other people get their weight up. I don't even have to say anything. It's just like, there's weight on the floor, I'm going to go pick it up. It's like you helped someone because they're whatever, they lift 900 pounds and it just takes forever to just contributing there. Like that means a lot to that person, because usually that person is always last to do stuff. And that means they don't have a lot of time to warm up for the next thing. And it's like, just by taking the extra 30 seconds that we're all standing around anyway to help someone else out, like that's the stuff that I look at. I'm like, man, I appreciate that.
That's such a good point, right? Because there's a lot of people that having to go introduce yourself to someone new is horrifying. Just it's the last thing they want to do.
So I'm not going to pay a gym membership to go.
I can do that, but I'm not paying $200 a month to have to be hi, my name is because for them that doesn't fill their cup, right? It takes away. And so just being able to do little things like that, even just picking them, hey, let me grab that for you. That's contributing. It can be the lowest. It can be very, very simple things.
Yeah.
And I think that's an excellent point. It doesn't have to be a verbal contribution of something of some kind.
Yeah. The hope, again, because it's this endless feedback loop that's like, well, someone hopefully did that for you too.
Yeah.
Like someone else, got clips out for you right before the workout and just to set that up. Or I don't know. I just think like there's ways to help other people, and you're going to want to do that because other people are helping you constantly as well. Yeah. So that's where, to me, the community side really just anchors down at Trivium, is that we are focused on that a lot. And so
that's cool. That's good. All right. Well, let's wrap this conversation up. and I think we've got a game to play. But one of the things, look, for the takeaways, look, we talk about ideal members or whatever, however you want to put that, or whatever you want to call that. It's not just the fittest person in the room. I think that's a lot of people think, oh, the ideal member is a guy that can do a bunch of muscle ups and they're just great at CrossFit. They represent it. That's not really it.
Yeah, nothing that we talked about had anything to do with your fitness today.
Yep.
Period.
It's about people who, make the place better, receive from it. They find value. They're going to be around. That's what we want. We're not here to collect a membership so that you can deadlift 10 more pounds and that's it. Right. That's all kind of encompassed in there. So we want you to, focus on being coachable, focus on being consistent, and focus on the contribution to the community. Those are the three things.
Yep.
All right, we got a quick game to play, which I have not looked at. I have no idea what it is, but
so we had a great icebreaker in one of the classes in the morning. It was at 5 a.m. One of the members came up and he asked me this question, and I just thought it was hilarious. I was like, all right, I'm going to ask Nate the same thing. So you wake up and you have the ability to shoot liquid out of each finger.
It's so weird.
You get to decide what liquids are coming out of each finger, and you get 5 total. So what are you going with? And then we'll just break it down.
The size of the finger doesn't have anything to do.
It's up to you.
Whatever.
Only contingency that he gave me on this is that you will feel it. So like if you say something like, I want to shoot lava out, it's like, well, you're going to feel lava coming out of your finger. So
all right.
Keep that in mind, and then let's go for it.
All right. Well, I think water.
Right? I think it's a great choice.
I'm going water on the thumb. I can suck my thumb. What are you doing? Just grabbing a drink. No,
hydrated up, bro. Okay.
Yeah, super hydrated.
Yeah, there you go.
Hydrated. All right.
So that's the one you're giving back to you.
Yeah. Giving me the water. Giving me the water. I also really don't like water because I'm a flavor guy.
You could get.
So I think
I was gonna say you could go with like an element flavored water.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go like blue Gatorade Zero.
Stick. Okay.
I love the blue.
Yep.
I like Gatorade Zero. Keep me hydrated. We'll nix the sugars, and I'm sure there's some other bad stuff in there.
Yeah, just add artificial in the diet. Yeah, no big deal.
Sugars and dyes, whatever. I'm going blue Gatorade Zero. Now it gets weird because I have no idea what I would go with. So I'm trying to think of what are like liquids and things that I would use a lot throughout a week or a day. And a liquid, like, peanut butter's not a liquid technically, right? Well, I mean, they won't let you take it through TSA. Is peanut butter allowed?
It's up to you, man.
Yeah, I think peanut butter's a liquid. If TSA says it's a liquid, does that make it a liquid?
Sure.
Science probably doesn't make it a liquid.
This is your question.
Yeah, peanut butter.
Okay. I think if you go creamy, I think that's a pretty good option. And then if you go, I mean, you look at the stuff that's like the all natural, where like the oil is kind of to the top, like that's pretty liquidy. I'll give you that.
Yeah. I'm going all natural, peanuts and salt, but it's peanut butter. We're going there. Oh man, what would be useful? WD-40? I don't even know.
Just give it a little spritz everywhere you go.
Yeah, pinky is going to be WD-40. I feel like I could follow a lot of things. It's not just for like doors. It's an adhesive remover, all of that stuff. And then index finger, let's go dial soap. Dial soap, it cleans the penguins. It can knock everything out.
Sure.
So I've got 3 edible and 2 functional use case liquids.
Good for you. Yeah. I think those are great options.
Yeah.
I've had a lot more time to think about it.
Your newest Marvel hero is
you're like, you want some water?
Yeah.
You go from there.
No big deal. I got this.
Yeah. So I think they're great.
Yeah. Okay. And by the way, I had 60 seconds notice.
Exactly.
I haven't thought about this even a little bit.
I had and this is, I just wanted to hear myself. These are mine. I thought it was great. So I just went with oil. And I was like, I'm just going to pinky in a barrel. I don't have to work again. I can just keep filling up barrels with oil, sell it. Done.
Great point. Okay. Yeah. So like crude oil.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know not olive oil.
No. Yeah. Just crude oil. There you go. Exactly. That's going in. And then I was like, however, that's not going to do me a lot of work. So I'm going to go ahead and just get gasoline as one as well. Now I can just completely fill up I never have to pay for gas again. I can help my buddies out.
I have an electric car, so that's where I didn't, but that's good.
Right. Yeah. But does Jess?
Jess doesn't. Yeah. Fair point.
And then if you have a generator, don't have to worry about it anymore. So we're all set. Here we go. So gasoline was another one.
It's probably better than peanut butter. Yeah, good call.
I thought water was terrific, so I definitely wanted water there. I had it as a pointer finger though, and then my 2 other ones. O blood type.
I'm already O blood type, but okay.
Right, but now I can just give it to anyone. I'm helping people.
Yeah, universal donor. Just hey, you need some.
Hey, we're good. Like I can be. That's the superhero power right there. Like I'm the best medic in the world when it comes to people there. And then so I was like, okay, so we got oil, gas, blood, water. I feel like I was like, that's pretty good. We're set.
Yeah.
Let's have some fun. This one's tequila.
I like it.
So now we're at a party, and it's like,
Yeah.
hey,
yeah.
party's
I'm the only guy in the room. Peanut butter's not going to get me that, but all right. Yeah.
But peanut butter's good. Yeah, peanut butter's good.
But it might. There's might be some peanut butter.
If you could get the jelly on the other hand, now you're just like, you're just
who picked jelly? Where are you at?
Perfect lunch lady, just right here.
Just wash it down with some tequila. That's fun, man. That's great. I like it. All right, guys. Well, listen, thanks for listening.
Your 5.
Yeah, would love to hear that. Hear your 5. And throw them in the comments. Mine were pretty quick off the cuff. I think with some thought, those are a little bit better. But yeah, drop them in the comments. As always, show up, work hard, be kind. We'll see you in the gym.
See you guys.